Welcome to Wellingmas, and this is the tradition. They say, oh, she's worked at Gordon Ramsay. We need a beef Wellington for Christmas. So I need to make 2 different Wellingtons for Christmas, and it's a whole 3-day process. I'm not gonna lie, it's a whole faff, but when you get that cut, it's really enjoyable. And it gives you something to do at Christmas, other than talk with random shit with family. One of my family doesn't eat beef, so I'm gonna make a venison Wellington, and then I've got a beef Wellington. So I've got beef has just arrived. We've got a beef centre cut fillet here. And then I've got the venison loin here too. I've got venison trim, veal bones, venison bones. I've also got the idea to add some foie gras down the middle because I love foie gras. And I've pre-done that, so I've done foie au torchon. Things I need to do. So today is making venison stock, veal stock. Then it's searing the beef, mushroom, duxelles, freeze the chicken breast. I'll make the pancakes, chicken mousse, and then roll it. So I pretty much never turn on my oven anymore. I heavily roast the bones and then the trim in the air fryer at about 200 until they're caramelized and brown. Venison bones for the venison stock. It's really important to remove the fat, otherwise that's going to make a cloudy stock. You can use this later for the potatoes. I then like to add water back into the air fryer to really deglaze the air fryer baskets and give it a good scrub to get out all that flavour. So the plan is I've got this roll of foie gras, I've got my venison fillet, and then I've got this meat glue, and I'm going to like dust it and then pop the foie gras in the middle, and then hopefully it's all gonna bond to it. The first layer of cling film. It's really important to have a really heavy board that sticks to your counter, and then your cling film. Ideally you want a better cling film, but we've got Waitrose. And then you're gonna pop the cling film down with this side rolling out. Pop the fillet down. Oh my God. If this works, it's gonna be amazing. And you see sort of the tension. If you need a bit more tension, you can put your hand here to stop it rolling. You just want as much tension as possible. So you're gonna roll either side to get some ends to it and have a fight with the cling film. Fuck you, man. Just tighten it up, it's rolling away from you, and then secure it with a bit more. Right, this little guy is gonna go in the fridge overnight. For the beef, because it's a bigger chunk, I'm going to try and cut down the middle of the beef so I can slide the foie gras through. So I'm gonna cut through both sides, and hopefully the knife's gonna meet. So I can like all the way down. I hope this works, otherwise I don't have another beef fillet, so you're gonna use a thin, pointy, sharp knife and then slide it down, and don't do what I'm doing here. What is she doing? She's about to snap off her finger. This is how you get a cut. I was super impressed when both my fingers touched.
Well, my fingers are touching.
Felt like an accordion of beef fillet. Now, is this hole big enough to stuff some foie gras down? I was a bit too confident with the foie gras and it snapped off in my hand and then rolled it up really tight. Again, the most important ingredient in a beef Wellington is cling film. Moral of the story, don't get Waitrose cling film. I'm now gonna set this one overnight in the fridge. Woohoo! I've just diced up some chicken breasts and I'm gonna pop those in the freezer overnight so that tomorrow, the idea is if you freeze the chicken mousse, it's less likely to split for the mousse. You wanna keep everything as cold as possible. So I've just got this diced up chicken breast that I've already weighed, so the whole process tomorrow is so much more smooth. Next job is to make the duxelles. So I'm literally just gonna be like crushing up these mushrooms and shoving them in a blender. And I'm just gonna blend them until they're like a fine brunoise, but kind of chopped, but nothing crazy. You don't want like paste, that means you're on too fast. A mix of chestnuts, shiitakes, and then through the sauce, I've got some morels, a little bit fancy. The shiitakes are just gonna be a bit more umami. You can see the chop on it is quite fine, but it's not pasty. That's gonna go straight into like pan. And I'm gonna be working in batches so it doesn't like overcrowd the pan, and so that you can actually get some caramelization in there. I'm not gonna be adding any salt yet. I just want, because when you add the salt, it extracts the water out of the mushroom. So you just wanna let it sit quite a high heat, and so that it actually gets some render and caramelization in there. So you could shove the shallots in a blender too, but to be honest, I'm not a cowboy. Actually, I am, but there's being a cowboy and there's being a cowboy. This is the correct method of making a brunoise. You need to peel each layer of the shallot and finally slice it lengthways and then cut it into tiny cubes. When the mushrooms are super dry, this can take up to 45 minutes. You can then add in the shallots, a little bit of oil, salt, and then garlic. I like to use a microplane because it's easier and quicker. And then you want to let the mushroom duxelle dry out completely. Turn the heat of the pan off. Using the spatula, draw lines, and this allows the steam to escape. It's time to sear the fillets. Dry out the fillets with some kitchen roll and heat up a cast iron or heavy base pan. Add salt and pepper and a little oil. You're going to sear on a high heat until it's all caramelized on the outside. Before wrapping, I added a bit of mushroom powder on the outside for an extra umami boost. Next, onto the crepes. Crepes are used as an extra layer to make sure the pastry stays crisp. Whack everything in a high powered blender. You don't need a Thermomix. Eggs, flour, milk, and then loads of parsley. You can use spinach instead, and then whack this on high for 10 minutes. This extracts the color of the herbs. Then pass this through a sieve. You want to make sure there's no lumps. And this is a hack that I feel no one is talking about, / I've made up. For a beef welly, you need a rectangular pancake. Then why are you cooking in a frying pan and then cutting these circles? It just doesn't make sense. Preheat a tray with a non-stick mat on a 180-degree oven. Thinly layer the pancake mix over the tray, then bake for 3 to 5 minutes. If it's looking a bit crispy, add an ice cube into the oven. Remove it and simply peel back the mat. Now for the chicken mousse. If you ever had beef Wellington and the layers just aren't quite sticking together, it's probably because they didn't use a chicken mousse. Now you're going to know the secret. Chicken mousse expands when it cooks. That means all the layers are going to be super tight in the beef Wellington, so you get that perfect cut. Mix the frozen chicken with egg whites and salt, and then blend on high for about 10 minutes. You want it really, really smooth. As the jug of the blender warms, you can finally add a dash of cream. This just lightens the whole mix. Remove the chicken mousse and add the chilled duxelles with a bit of tarragon for flavour. You cannot have welly without gravy. Sear off some meat trim, add shallots, garlic, and hard herbs. I then added brandy and might have made an error.
Woohoo! Uh-oh. Yeah, I just set a bay leaf on fire.
Add sherry, port, and cheap red wine, chicken stock, and the veal stock made earlier. It's time to roll the wellies. I like to brush the wellies with English mustard. I don't care, some people use Dijon, but English just has a nicer spiciness to it. Lay the cling film down and add the crepe. Add the chicken mousse and roll it out with baking parchment. Then it's a little bit of maths.
No, pi r squared, isn't that right?
Pi r squared is the area of a circle. What are you going to work out?
I want the circumference.
2 pi r or pi d.
About 6.5 centimetres.
20.41.
Place the beef at the edge of the mousse and then tightly roll. Trim off any excess mousse and crepe, then fold it up like a present. You can patch up any holes with a little extra leftover crepe, and then roll it up to set in the fridge or in the freezer if you're using later.
I'm going to have to do some more maths. It'll be 8 at the girthiest point though. Now I'm going to chop this part like this, and then this part is going to be the lattice.
It's easier to work with cold pastry. Glue 2 pastry sheets together. Try to use the all butter pastry, not the vegan stuff. It's crap. Brush with egg wash. I use egg yolk and double cream. Measure the pastry and roll the Wellington, and then tuck the ends in like you did before. Then roll everything again tightly up in cling film. This is the last cling film stage. Celebrate.
We have run out of cling film.
It's Christmas Day. Dust the pastry lattice with flour. It's easier to work with the pastry if it's cold. This is going to make the cutting so much more easier. I forgot to actually film the cutting part. Brush the Wellington in the egg wash. It's easier to roll the Wellington around the lattice and then trim off the excess bits. Rebrush lightly with egg wash. You don't want to add too much, otherwise it's going to go gross. Pop a rosemary leaf in each hole of the lattice, then top with flaky sea salt. When it's time to cook, add to a 200-degree preheated oven. I went in for 12 minutes, then turned and another 12 minutes for about another 4 minutes until it hit 32 degrees internal temperature. I let it rest for a good 20 minutes and then it was ready to carve. One Christmas down, and I think it went pretty well. I think there's a few learnings I can take for the next Christmas to change the cooking method and get a perfect beef Wellington. When I cut into the venison Wellington, the meat was perfectly pink and it was really well cooked. But the meat temperature I wanted to hit around 40 degrees C. The issue is the foie gras melts at about 25 degrees, so it wasn't quite solid in the middle. I've seen a cooking technique by this chef, Chris Young. He's a pretty big deal. And he actually uses one of these temperature probes. He's got one by Combustion Inc. I actually used this one, which is the Typha one, and I got it on the Saturday, so I didn't really have time to set it up. I stuck it into the Wellington and took it out at 32 and then let it rest up, and I think it finished at about 35-ish. What I found with this temperature probe, it doesn't allow you to hit a temperature lower than 40 degrees, which is slightly annoying. And I also didn't realize that you can put it in basic mode or professional mode. In basic mode, I think it takes an average of all the sensors. So it's got, I think, 6 sensors along here. So you can see different points within the meat. That's why I thought it was really cool. Plus the ambient temperature of the oven. So next time I'll put it in professional mode and stick it down the Wellington rather than into the Wellington this way. He's got a different technique where he freezes the Wellington and then cooks it from frozen, although he does it sous vide. I asked ChatGPT as well, my new best pal, and he agreed. The issue is I've already made this and popped it in the freezer and it's already frozen. ChatGPT says that if I cook this from frozen, it'll keep the foie gras at a cool enough temperature and the beef will defrost. I'm just nervous it's gonna take forever in the oven. Either the pastry is gonna burn, the foie gras is gonna melt, and the other issue is Chris Young also puts a hole into the Wellington prior to freezing. However, I've already frozen it and I haven't put a hole in it. So I'm going to have to stick the probe in halfway through the cook. If the pastry burns, I will also stick a little foil hat over it to hopefully stop the pastry burning. And I'm gonna cook it at a slightly higher temperature, about 210. Now I'm gonna roll this Wellington in puff pastry, re-wrap it, pop it in the freezer, and then do the lattice and pop that all in the freezer and then cook the whole thing from frozen. ChatGPT also said to me, in hindsight, I should have made foie gras parfait because it's more stable at higher temperatures, but it's already in there. Supposedly cooking the pastry from frozen is going to have a better cook on the pastry, so it's gonna sustain the layers and help the butter like stay inside and then like just be better. I'm gonna be posting the next video post the Christmas Day lunch. All right guys, I wish you all the luck with your Wellingtons on Christmas Day. I hope you have a fab Christmas.